Hi, welcome. Let me unmute myself. Hi, welcome to the extremely late, extremely ill-timed coffee with Blaine. Substituting for coffee will be this beer right here. How you guys doing? Shad, what's up? Good evening. How are you? Daniel, what's up? Yo. How you guys doing today? Petaluma, yeah, we'll be definitely kicking it in Petaluma, that's for sure. That is one of my. Petaluma is one of those stops where I always end up just out in the crowd hanging out. This feels really weird to drink a beer and to talk to you guys. Not to mention, I'm sure it's going to be completely different people. One, considering it's a completely different time frame, and two, considering it's a holiday. Oh yeah, my little Grogu pants. Gotta love the Grogu Santa pants. How are you doing, D? How's your day? Hopefully well. Yeah, I got on super late tonight. I probably won't stay on too long. But I basically was planning on hanging out tomorrow and chilling with you all in the morning like normal. But I have a 8 a.m. appointment, so, and I got to fly to Reno tomorrow in the evening. Just a lot of stuff going on, so I was like, well, either I do it now or I don't do it for a while, probably till next week. So yeah, tour season is coming upon us quickly. And so, yeah, fly to Reno, play a show with Soja up there on Thursday, fly back Friday, rehearsal Friday night, rehearsal Saturday morning, Cali Vibes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, pack, leave on tour on Wednesday. I'll sub the beer for buds. Heck yeah, Beth. Yeah. You do you. And that's the important thing. I subbed the coffee out myself, so we're all in different spaces today. Does anyone want to chat about anything? Anybody who's not used to watching me live, anyone have anything to chat about? Or I can just do my normal thing and ramble into the microphone. I got a couple hours of being awake left, so my normal routine about this time is hook up some microphones and practice some guitar. Lately, it's been my nylon string. Been working on miking this up properly and getting good sound and practicing my engineering as well as my playing. Yeah, T. It's too late. It's too late for me in general. Save yourself. It's too late for me. Doesn't sound quite as good on the 7B, but it's passable. I'm hella excited for California Vibes Festival in Long Beach. Yeah, we're going to be there Sunday, rocking out. I think we're doing a meet and greet, too. Is that right, T? Are we doing a meet and greet? I think so. You're at a basketball game and you're on the live stream. I won't tell if you won't. You guys are really quiet today. I guess it's a holiday and the day's over for most of you, so that's fair. That's fair. Bedtime lullabies with Blaine. Actually, what I was just playing, speaking of which, that reminds me I should tune if I'm going to play this thing at all in public. That's a song I actually wrote that I was just playing. Is actually a lullaby called Joyland's Lullaby that I wrote when I was in college. Down by 12, 20 seconds left. Damn. What was something I listened to that was a little obscure today? That's a good question. You know, I've been listening to a lot of, I've been transcribing it, learning as much as I can from it, but Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. That's one of my go-tos. Are you guys at Regularize at Florida this year? Yeah. So we finished tour, I think the last show's on the 12th in Phoenix. And we get home on the 13th. And I think we fly out on the 15th or 16th for Regularize at Florida. Just in and out. You are absolutely right on the money, DK. I actually wrote the tune on the nylon string, or a nylon string that I found in a dumpster. So that's fun. Lizzie, good. I must say good morning. I will probably say good morning to most people. I'm supposed to get down there. Get it. Do it. That's all I remember of that lullaby that I wrote. I should dig that out. I originally, when I wrote it, I wrote it for nylon string guitar and flute. I played it. I think I played it during my recital, I want to say. Now I really need to dig that out. But yeah. Thanks for the questions, guys. Cheers. Yeah. Is there anything you want to talk about? Any questions you guys want to ask? I just got the flirt back. Let me learn the other part. Yeah. I don't think it's that hard. If I wrote it, it can't be that hard. Jordan, good morning. Good evening. Good more evening. Well, we could talk about a couple things. I suppose I could probably show you how I've been miking up my acoustic lately, if that's something that you're interested in. If you want to see my nightly routine while everyone is sleeping soundly in their beds. That sounds way more awful than I intended it. But yeah. Anyone interested in that? Anyone not interested in that? Anyone interested in something else? You guys are so quiet. That's okay. That's okay. Maybe I should maybe I should just get back to playing. For me, the obscure piece of music that I had today was sung by the Gorillaz featuring Elton John. Oh, that sounds like it would be dope. I love both of those artists, so could imagine what they collab on. It's funny that you say that the Gorillaz and Elton John put out a song and it's obscure, because by reading the description with those artists, you would think that it would be not even obscure. But yeah, I'm just here for a quick howdy. I had enough screen time. What have you been doing all day on the screens, DK? You been screening your calls? Thank you. I'll be here all week. Brittany, yeah, happy Love Day. That's my Love Day face. All right. I suppose I'm gonna set up these mics and just set myself up to practice, and you guys can follow along. And if you're into that sort of thing, you can be into it. I know, that's all I'm talking about. The more I'm on this live stream, the more I realize that I just kind of want to mess around with my guitar. But I don't want to leave people hanging, both of you. Because it's important. I should have figured that no one's going to tune in to a live stream that I call Coffee with Blaine at 9 p.m. on the West Coast on Valentine's Day. Why do I do this to myself? Why? It's a tough question, and it deserves a tough answer. And I don't have that answer. All right. So, for those that are interested, the setup I've been doing for guitar miking or acoustic guitar miking, I should say, has been really, really fun. I have two These little guys right here. These are what they call pencil condensers. They're in this fancy holder, but essentially they're just little condenser mics, pretty directional. Point them at whatever you want, and they pick up the sound. They're WA-84s. They're modeled after a much more famous, way more expensive mic. But yeah, I have a pair of them, and for acoustic, what I've been liking to do is positioning them about arm's length away from where I'm sitting, up at an angle pointing down at the guitar. And the spacing them about 12 inches apart or so. And I think it lends itself to really pretty sound, personally. I like to make sure that I have a little bit of distance going on from the guitar and a little bit of not being directly on the guitar. Helps me balance the treble and the mid frequencies. And then I like to take each of the mics and then kind of hard pan them in opposite directions. So one is mainly in this ear and one is mainly in the other. And they produce a pretty stereo image. The other thing I want to make sure is like none of the mics are directly on the body of the guitar. They're going to be both focused over the neck as well. There we go. Yeah, now we're talking. Let's see what we got going on here. Shut. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So we can hear we got some noise going on. I got my little air purifier going. I can kill that. It really is all about the comfy pants, right? Yeah, and then you can see we're probably about arm's length away from here. I like to have the left mic right about here, and then the right mic more on this end of the guitar. And then but yeah, got just a tiny bit of echo going on. What's up, Mike? How you doing? Frosty the Snowman. Yeah, Beth. Yeah, Beth. PJ Patrol. Anyone else wearing pajama pants tonight? Love it. Daniel, these microphone placement tips are absolute fire. Thank you. Was wondering what was something from a hip hop song that you've heard lately that you felt you wanted to incorporate into something? That's a good question, Daniel. It's a great question. Honestly, I haven't been listening to anything current or modern at all lately. Everything's been bossa nova and old jazz lately. Mike's wearing a PJ Blaine hoodie right now. I love it. Love it. But yeah, I mean, there's so much good stuff from so many different types of music. It just kind of varies on what you're vibing on, pretty much. I wonder if I can pan these into more of what it would sound like, in case you're, yeah. There we go. So I don't know if you guys can hear this in the live stream, but these are hard panned to the left and to the right. So this one is left, that one's right ear. So if you have headphones on or something, you should be able to hear it more. But yeah, that sounds so good. The spacing makes the guitar sound super rich and super full. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of the sound on that? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Oh, Bill Withers is super dope. Yeah. Cheers, bro. Welcome to my nightly ritual. What I want to do is I'd love to add a reverb on this send, but I think I'm out of DSP on this interface. Because that's the one thing that I think would really set it over the edge. We could do that. Christy, happy Valentine's Day. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Where is it? Reverb and room. Let's see if we can get it up here without going over. Media power disabled. Of course. All right. Let me do this. Can I share a screen? Yeah. So there we go. So here's what my my thing looks like here. You can see my whole signal chain here. So here's my console. I have an Apollo solo interface, and let me move these out of the way. I have an Apollo solo base, and in my inputs here, I have two Avalons going on. That's what these are. So these are the preamp, the digital preamps basically, and the compressors. So preamp, compressor, and then EQ, and then a little post amp push. And that's what normally gets recorded. And then you can see on this console, so I have one in each channel basically. And if I turn these off, you can kind of hear a difference. And you'll notice that the guitar doesn't quite have the same punch to it. But I have the phantom power on for the microphones, and I have a low cut on each microphone to kind of take a little bit of that bass buildup off. And then I have my reverb, which I'm just setting up now. Let's just do a preset. Let's do Big Bright Hall, because that sounds amazing. Or let's do a, I really love plate reverbs, so let's do a, let's see. Big Bright Circle Plate, let's try that. Crank the mix up here, and then in our little digital mixer here, we can go to inserts. We should be able to turn this bad boy on. And then go to our sends, and we can, okay, they're already attached, so we should get some reverb going on right now. Yeah, let's hear the same thing, but with some of that reverb. Oh yeah, that sounds nice. So this basically is just going to make the room sound bigger. Not bad. Let's add a little more. Let's get weird with it. Let's try that. Oh, yeah, you can hear that in the vocals. Let's hear how it sounds. Yeah, that reverb makes a lot of difference there. There it is. Oh, I still got the all the plugins up, don't I? Let's unshare the screen here. That's better. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Fun stuff. Turn this reverb off here. But anyway, that's kind of what I do at night. So I just kind of wanted to share it with you. I appreciate that, guys. I know it's a little different from normal format that I'm. Here, I'm gonna move this guy over here. Yeah, I know it's a little different from the format that we normally do, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to share my little nightly routine with you guys, and kind of what I do every night, what my pajama laced Blaine gets into, and it's a lot of weird experimenting like that, setting up the room, setting up the mics, getting a good feel for the instruments, and then just lots of practice. And when I get the good sounds, I just try to hit record, which is kind of cool, kind of fun. But yeah. Thank you guys for popping in and hanging out with me. And yeah, let's chat again later. Preferably in the morning, I think. I think that's probably the best time. Oh. Have you heard of Victor Cruz? He's a classical 12-string guitarist that I ran across years back. Your nylon setup brings me to those feels. I have not heard of Victor Cruz. Sounds amazing though. I love 12-string. It sounds so big, almost like a mini orchestra. It's beautiful. Yeah, the only real 12-string player that I know is Leo Kottke, old school player, and he's incredible. I think Leadbelly, the old blues player, played a 12-string as well. But other than those cats, I don't really know too many exclusively 12-string players, or where that's their main instrument. Most of the time, it's just an add-on. I'd love to have a 12-string. I think it'd be great for the recording studio. A lot of times, what I like to do is I like to record a chord progression. Where I'm just maybe playing G and C and D. And then double that somewhere else, so I might have. And then have those panned like this, kind of in the mixer. And then it sounds, you kind of get some of those harmonics, and if you play kind of very similar with the strumming. And layer them on top of each other, that kind of gets a really good fake 12-string sound. Actually, the tune that I'm producing for Doa's Daydream, um, a tune called No In Between. It's in the mixing and mastering stages right now. That features two 6-string guitars playing very similar rhythms. This one's a little more disjointed because it's a little different feel, but it kind of approximates that same thing. But if I had a 12-string in the studio, I could get that nice full chorusy sound with just one guitar drum. Lauren, good morning. Good evening. How are you? We're just messing around with sounds in the studio. But I really love these mics. They're super cool. There's a little bit of... Oh, you guys can hear that little bit of noise in the line? That's how sensitive the mics are. So what that background noise that you guys are hearing is actually the fan from my laptop. The computer is pushing right now to run all the video, and so the fan kicks on to keep it cool, but you can hear that in the mics. So my workaround for that actually is here. I'll throw this back on. I like to go up in here into my system settings, and then go down to battery. Go to low power mode, and then switch that to always. And Leo is awesome live. I've never seen him live. I'm kind of jealous, actually. But you'll hear as we talk for a little bit that the fan will actually die down and start to kick off. But that's the one thing about condenser mics. It's the good and bad thing is that they're super sensitive. But because they're super sensitive, you need to have a really quiet space or you're going to pick up a lot of background noise. I mean, you can hear, right? Which you'd barely be able to pick up, if at all, with something like this dynamic mic. That's why so many people who are podcasting and stuff will use these mics. This one's not on right now, but it's because it picks up very directly what's in front of the mic, and it rejects a bunch of the background noise. And I don't know why I put it next to my mouth, but yeah, so a lot of people use that, but it doesn't pick up like the brilliant detail of something like an acoustic guitar as much. So depending on the part, you might be able to get away with it. You might not. You have much better luck just trying to find a better room to record in, one that's a little more dead and quiet. So you can see there's a carpet on the floor. You can't really see up here, but I have a bunch of foam up here as well. Daniel, when you mix and master, do you get any outside options other than your tribe before you publish a track? That's a great question, and honestly, I don't mix and master songs. So the short answer is yes, I go way outside right away to somebody else who doesn't know the song, because by the time I'm done recording a song, especially if I'm producing like the whole song, I've heard it thousands of times over the course of months or longer. And I want someone who's more talented than me to do the mixing and mastering. And two, I want someone who's got a fresh set of ears, because I'll be hearing stuff the same way-ish, the way that I like to hear it for months, and that might not be the best option, but I'm just used to hearing it like that. So I can get burnt out on a way that I think it sounds. A lot of people will call that demoitis to different bands, because they've recorded a song maybe in their garage or a demo of a song in a project studio, and then they'll go to an actual recording studio to record the song, and they won't like the new song because they're so used to hearing the demo and just basically want to hear a better version of the demo. Which in some cases the demo is legitimately could be good, but in most cases it's you get so used to hearing something a certain way that it makes it hard for you to make those type of creative decisions. Scott, good morning. Yeah, actually. So my drapes are various shades of brown, and so is my carpet, and so is my backdrop. The ones right behind the computer are more tan, and these ones right here are more brown. I guess I can show you. Oh, let's turn that off, and let's do picture in picture, and let's add a source here. Let's add an extra camera. Oh, there we go. Will you add in my USB camera? And we'll do. Maybe we'll add it in. It's not really showing me. There's that. There's that. There's it underneath. Let's switch them. Okay, why not? You can see my brown drapes there, and you can see my computer, and then the tan drapes. Oh, I just pulled it out. Oh, there it is. You can see the tan drapes right there. So, yeah, I'd say so. I'm loving these questions, Daniel. Thank you for all the questions. Oh, I know the joke. I'm just being ridiculous. Why not? Why not take it and flip it? Uh, um, how do you refresh your ears after sitting in the recording space for as long as you do? That's a good question. I try not to record more than like once I'm comfortable with a part, because a lot of times I'll be writing with the record button on, but I try not to record more than like 4 or so takes once I have the part down. And then once I record a part or something, I try to give myself some space, go do something else for 10-15 minutes, or move on to something else and then pop back on, or you switch instruments as well. Sometimes just hearing a different aspect and from a different point of view is the thing. But the longer you're in here, yeah, the more chance you have of that. I also like to check stuff on the second day, so I like to give myself, after a recording session, I'll go back in the next day and I'll see at what point I may have gotten silly with my takes and thought something was super cool when it really wasn't, or had my levels wrong or something like that. But yeah, little mini breaks in the sessions once every hour or so. Give myself like 15 minutes. I kind of find that's with anything, not just with my ears in general, but just with anything I'm doing, like to space out my attention span. Because as much as the ear issue is, there's an issue with my mind wandering. So if I find my mind starting to wander, I try to just give myself a little break. These mics sound so good. I'm not even pointing at the mic. It's just at a random position, and the guitar already sounds. So good. Beth, be willing to have your sound evolve by adding new ears as you record. Is that kind of the direction you're speaking? Yeah, yeah. That and when you listen to something so much, it can be your perception of it. And honestly, sometimes you can gloss over mistakes as well. You might hear a mistake or something that's wrong, but you've heard it so much, it just it feels okay to you. Whereas someone hearing something for the first time might hear something jarring or some sort of mistake that you accidentally let slide because you've just heard it so much. Yeah, and then some people might have different ideas or opinions and stuff, and so yeah, just having a fresh set of ears, someone in addition can really do whatever. Can you share this live to your sure, Scott? Yeah, yeah. Um, Everyone watch me drink a beer and talk about uh, my very limited knowledge of recording. Um, but so I always like to have somebody else checking on my stuff for me. At least, you know, to where I'm not like super hyped on something that may not be that great, or that I miss some silly mistakes, or that like there might be a better option uh, on a part or something like that. And what else? What else? Yeah, yeah. So the more I spend in here, the more I realize that I don't have a necessary passion to mix and master either. Like I want to make stuff sound good, but for the purposes of this studio and my attention, I'd rather just track guitar and bass and other instruments more so than do full mixing and mastering and stuff. Yeah, yeah, essentially, Beth. And so I've kind of been slowly, even more and more, gearing the things that I buy studio wise to match that aesthetic. Like, I want to be able to sit down in this room and record high quality audio for people and myself as well, and have as good of an capture of the idea that I can have. So focusing more on the actual playing, obviously, but then focusing on what steps I can take to make it sound as good as it can sound, basically at the source. You know what I mean? The reason I have these instruments is I've been strategically picking up instruments to have different textures and tones. So the nylon and the regular acoustic and this particular 5-string bass and the electrics that I have and stuff. So the instruments I want them to sound good when they're mic'd up. This one actually sounds really good mic'd up, especially for strumming. Yeah, and if I can get, the best instruments I can afford, and set them up the best I can get them set up, and get the tones and textures, and the best amp that I can get to play through, and the best pedals that I can have to get the sounds, and then have the best mics I can get to capture those sounds, and the best interface that I can have with the best preamp settings that I can have to really get them across. If I can do that, like, I feel like I'm in a really good place. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to have this set up to create, and then honestly, with the rise of home studios and stuff, so you can get by with just about anything. I was getting by for a while with less than optimal things, getting pretty good tones, but yeah, like, the better I can make it, the less work it is for the guy mixing it, essentially, as well. Like, if it sounds great just coming out of the gate, he can focus his attention on other things. He can get more creative with it. He's not stuck just trying to fix my mediocre sounds, if you will, if that makes sense. So, yeah, it's been a big goal of mine lately, is to do that. I have a couple more pieces of the studio puzzle that I have on my list of stuff to get as well. Another microphone, another type of microphone. So I have these, which are called small diaphragm condensers, or pencil condensers, little guys. I have a big, large tube condenser microphone. I have my trusty SM7B, which some of you guys see fairly often. I have a trusty SM58 as well, and I have one other condenser mic around here somewhere, but I don't have a what they call a ribbon mic, so that's kind of my next goal, which I've heard is amazing on both electric guitar cabs and on horns. So we will find out soon, hopefully. Thanks for all the questions, by the way, guys. I wasn't expecting to I wasn't expecting to get on here, let alone I wasn't expecting to kind of dive in and have this little chat. Scott, is a ribbon mic what the old school mics are? Yeah, a lot of the old school mics are ribbon mics. I believe they were probably the first style of mic to come out for professional recordings, and then the condenser, I think, came out later, and then the dynamic mics came out after that, I want to say. But yeah, a lot of it's got that more warmer, dare I say, analog-esque sound. So these are really crystal clear mics, giving you kind of a big full range of everything in my voice. And you can hear when I was in the SM7B before that, you could hear how it was much more subtle and more muted. So the ribbon mic's kind of in between those two mics, in which, like, you're getting a lot of detail, but it's rolling it off in a pleasant way, almost like a tape rolls off some of the harsher frequencies of digital recording, because there's almost a thing of making something too clean and too polished, where you can hear every little harsh frequency. So sometimes not being completely crystal clear is great, especially with, like, louder source instruments as well. stuff that's naturally kind of piercing. And when you're recording, you don't necessarily have the air to be a distance. If I'm playing trumpet per se, most people are a decent distance away from me when I'm playing trumpet or when anyone's playing trumpet. A lot of times you don't just go walk up and put your ear in the trumpet. But when you put like the mic in front of it, an instrument, you're kind of capturing it almost as if you were like walking up and putting your ear right there. So depending on the style of microphone, that can be very jarring and not so pleasant, even if it's a good player. When listening to music, what medium do you prefer, vinyl or digital, as far as tech goes? Um, that's a great question. That's a great question. Um, mm, I like the analog experience, but I don't need it, if that makes sense. I'm pretty content listening to having the convenience of being able to listen to music in full stereo sound in a nice set of headphones wherever I am, even if the source is digital. And a lot of digital recordings are actually fed through analog tape to warm it up at some point in the mixing and mastering process, or they're fed through a simulator of a tape, if that makes sense. So digital software is getting really good at modeling what hardware does. So if we go back up here to my little stuff, so this is what my mics are basically feeding through. If I turn off the reverb here, you can hear how I'll turn it back on. Hey. Oh, I have it turned off here. Hey. And where are we at? There it is. Hey. There's the reverb. Um, if I make sure that's off there, we can turn on these guys, and you'll be able to hear kind of really quickly. This is just a straight digital preamp, and you can hear it's kind of really, there's some harsh frequencies going on. But if I turn on the analog modeled software, you can automatically hear how my voice is being processed in a much more almost pleasing manner. I don't know if you guys are picking that up. It's probably harder to hear on phone. There's a little bit of a volume drop, but what I have going on is I have these preamps that are kind of warming up the signal. I have a little compressor that's kind of bringing out some of the nuances. Uh, and then I have a little bit of EQ, which is all of this is digitally modeling kind of analog components. It'd be like if I had a box that I would plug into that had these physical items. Um, yeah, you have a lot of that going on that warms up digital recordings in a much more pleasing way, so that there's not necessarily too much difference if you don't want there to be, if that makes sense. Now, hearing it on the vinyl is great, but it is kind of a limiting experience, being that you have to be, you know, in a room. You can't really be portable. There's a lot. It's a lot more cumbersome. It's harder to switch tunes and stuff like that. So I'm not like a hi-fi nerd. I want it to sound good to me, but if I'm just generally consuming tunes, I just want to listen to some good tunes. I'm not necessarily worried about every little nuance of the sound. Daniel, each instrument has its own flavor and ingredients. What's your best advice for novice aspiring studio recording engineers? Um, just learn as much as you can and try as much as you can. Uh, get the best gear for your budget and your situation as well, because quality in is kind of a lifesaver. The better the signal you can have going into your DAW, the easier your life is going to be mixing that. It's much easier to clean up a recording of things like background noise and digital artifacts and blah 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 and harsh frequencies and stuff if they're not there to begin with, right? So I know you don't always have that luxury when you're getting tracks from other people, but yeah. I and personally, my philosophy, just as a player, is what's my focus? My focus is playing guitar and other mainly stringed instruments with some additional piano and working more and more on this trumpet recording thing and horn recording. So the mics that I choose, the digital equipment that I get, everything's kind of geared towards getting a good sound on those instruments. Uh, so instead of just buying a mic because it's a good mic, it's like, what is that mic good for, right? Or how versatile is it? Is it going to be your only mic? Uh, what are you going to be? What is your main need? What kind of environment are you in? Uh, should you upgrade your mic or try to make your room sound better? People generally who's recording at home, their rooms aren't necessarily the best to track, especially acoustic instruments, right? So in this respect, I try to I like having a more dead room, meaning not a lot of ambient reflections going on in the room, and then try to detonate even more with these like acoustic paneling and the curtains and the carpeting, and then this soundboard back here kind of gives it a little bit of reflections and a little bit of liveness. And because it's all wood and it's cut out, it lets some of the sound waves through and then bounces some of them back. It's not like a wall that just bounces everything back, which gives everything kind of a much more natural sound, at least I think so. So trying to get that good sound. And I had thought about buying a whole bunch of different versions of the same mic for more nuanced things, and I decided that like my budget was to like get the best of this type of mic that I can afford, the best of this type of mic that I can afford, the best of this other type of mic that I can afford, and get the best instruments that I can afford. Then then work my way back. Once I have those things, get the best preamps and interface I can afford. I track a lot of electric guitar, so I have a load box and IR loader to help my guitar sound its best going in electric wise through the amp. I also have a helix to get the most out of my tones. For the tones that I use the most, trying to get the right pedals in the order. And if you notice, I don't have any of these pedals on a pedal board. Pedal boards are great for live, especially, but every time you introduce more than one pedal, you're kind of starting to degrade your signal a little bit. So I like to just plug in and you also introduce a little bit of noise into the line and signal loss. So I like to just plug in what I need. If I need one pedal or two or three, just chain them together, record with them, and then bounce out. I used to record with full pedal boards and stuff, but if I don't need it for live, it's kind of like, what's the point? Vinyl needs space as well. You have to have. Yeah, Beth. Actually, my girl has a bunch of vinyls, and we have a record player upstairs. It's not a crazy one, but we do have a record player up for vinyls upstairs. Um, yeah, and the snake wall is over here. But yeah, it's just I like it, but it's not. I'm not one of those audiophiles, basically. But I'm never gonna turn it down if you're like, hey, you want to go listen to some vinyl? I'll be like, hell yeah. I was on tour once, and somebody invited us back to their apartment, and they were like, dude, I have a what do they have? An Edison machine. It's like an Edison Victrola phonograph, whatever. Instead of records, they were cylinders, and it's the same idea as a vinyl, but they were over this like cylinder, and you put the cylinder in, and it read the same way as a vinyl. But I thought that was super cool. It was probably from the, I want to say the early 20s. I'm playing this stream through my Sonos app. I'm not sure. I don't even know what Sonos is. What is Sonos? Is that like a? Um, I don't know. What is that? Scott, do you think a lot of people are missing out on all the nuances from a studio recording by not listening in really nice set of reference headphones or speakers? Yeah, I mean, you miss a lot of audio information on tiny speakers. A lot of bass information doesn't get transferred, especially. And even listening on headphones, a lot of headphones automatically inflate the bass frequencies, making them bigger than they already are. Um, which is a problem if you're recording and mixing. The headphones I have are pretty flat. There's probably just a little bit of bump in the low end. But I have the Audio Technica ATH 50s. Um, and yeah, I dig them. For the price that I can afford, I really like them. I also have these Sennheisers HD 280 Pros, which are nice. The only thing I don't like about these as much is this isn't detachable like it is on here. Like I can replace the cable if it breaks, whereas this one's much harder. And the cable is kind of got this retro coil, and I'm not a huge coil cable fan. But I like the headphones, and they have some additional padding up here, which is actually a little nicer than the Audio Technicas. Sunshine, good morning. Evening. Yeah. What's your favorite speaker manufacturer? Oh, is it the Sonos? They're reference monitors, right? Um, live. In the studio, I actually have. I don't think they make them anymore. And I wait. Let me do this. Boom. There I am. In the studio here, I have these guys. They're probably much bigger than I need for the size of room that I'm in, but I got a great deal on them from my drummer. The Equators something eights, EQ eights or something like that. But I really love them. Got a really nice sound to them. They're big enough that they have a good solid bass response without being too boomy in this small room. But yeah, I don't really have a preference so far. I know that when I'm testing stuff out, even though I'm not like mixing, I like to hear stuff, or if I'm just giving notes on a mix for somebody mixing, is I like to listen to it on the stuff I would be listening to on at home. So if you're listening to your music like on a pair of Beats, right, where they kind of inflate the bass a little bit, like I have a pair of Beats Bluetooth headphones, which are great for the gym too. But I have these guys that I want to listen to the tune on. I also want to listen to the tune just on my phone speaker and on my computer speaker. And then I want to plug it into my car and listen to it through AirPlay. And then I want to listen to it on my studio monitors and then in these headphones. Because the way that each mode of listening has its pros and cons. So I'll listen to something where I think I have a good mix um, in headphones, and then I'll listen to it on a phone speaker, and certain parts will just disappear, or certain parts will just overtake everything, depending on how they're panned. Or the Edison machine. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Um, yeah, so when I'm referencing stuff, I want to hear it on what I'm gonna hear it on naturally, because I think that's important. But when I'm tracking stuff, I want to hear the full sound of each instrument. And when I'm putting stuff together initially, I want to hear the full sound, kind of everything. So I want a good pair of reference monitors, because if I'm like tracking guitar and I'm listening to something that's inflating the bass and I hit the low E string, or even worse on my 7 string when I hit the low B string, um, I might be like, whoa, that's a lot of bass, and then turn the bass way down on my amp, and then turn it on a pair of like normal reference headphones, or on an iPhone speaker or something like that, where the bass isn't inflated, and realize that the bass is just missing because I turned it down way too much. And if I do that when I'm tracking the instrument, um, then I feel like I can't really get it back. Like if you take something out, um, and then print it with whatever it is taken out or pulled back or pushed too hard, you can't really get that back. It's easier to retrack. I mean, you can work hard and get it to work, but I mean, at a certain point, it probably most of the time it'd probably be cheaper and less time consuming to just re-record. Listening through headphones is such a whole new. Yeah, I try to listen through as much as I can with headphones. I also have. Oh, they're over there. I'm not gonna get up. I have just a standard pair of iPods headphones, so that I can kind of hear the general. And I have a pair of crappy Bluetooth like headphones as well, like $16 ones from the store, because I know a lot of people listen on those. And it's just interesting to hear like what you hear in a song, especially a well-produced song, because I feel like every time you go up a level in quality of your listening medium, you're gonna pick out more things that are hidden within the track. Stuff that's really faint or maybe panned in a certain way that you really need that kind of almost 360 field of listening to get that. Yeah, yeah, these are great. Thanks for all of these dope questions. Cheers to you guys, by the way. The top of my foot itches really bad. I don't know why. It just itches. It's not like red. There's no rash. I'm freshly showered. I think it's I'm just covered in hair. I think that's the issue. Yeah. What else do you guys want to talk about? You guys in the mood to chat, or should we wind up? Should I get back to um, brought it back up here just in case? Should I get back into the studio and get my ass back to working and playing before I gotta bounce out for Reno tomorrow? You tell me. You tell me. Uh, what kind of mics do you have, Daniel? What are you working with? What kind of interface do you have? Oh, And I should also mention that uh, having the part down and sounding the way that you want it to sound, playing wise, makes all the difference as well. I'm enjoying listening to all of your words suck at questions. So no worries, Lauren. No worries. Um, See, here's a great example. So even if I had the greatest $20,000 microphone, right, and I'm in the most beautiful studio, something as simple as something as simple as the way my pinky nail is shaped can give a much harsher sound. Do you hear how harsh that is? Versus using my ring finger, pinky, ring finger, pinky, ring finger. You can hear a difference in tone, and that's just from using this finger versus this, because with the pinky I have to curl it more, and I'm not much of a use my pinky type of player, so it's a little sloppy the way it hits the string, and it makes this more harsh tone. Whereas if I use my ring finger, it sounds infinitely better. Same mic, same everything else. The only thing that changed was my playing. So if my technique is really bad, and I'm not getting the emotion across, or I'm not conveying the things that I want to convey on the instrument, uh, it doesn't matter how great the equipment is. I'm still going to have a mediocre performance. So I would probably rather have a great performance and a mediocre recording than a stellar recording and a mediocre performance. So I want every performance that I give to be the best. And that's probably one of the other reasons that I'm setting up my particular studio to do certain things, because it's based off of performing as much as it is capturing the performance. So the goal of the studio is to have everything set up to capture when those moments strike, when the inspiration is right, when I'm all warmed up, when I have the that drive to put my all into something. I want to be able to capture it in whatever medium I need to capture it on, with the best of my budget and ability. I write percussion tablature for 3 high school drum lines in Los Angeles. That sounds like a pain in the ass, bro. Are you on Finale or Sibelius? Yeah, because that's man, that's rough. What kind of space do you have? Do you have a good space to record in? Something that's got the right amount of bounce? Do you got like a nice little treated room? Um, Decent setup. All right, friends. I think I may have hit a wall. We've been hanging out for like an hour and 22 minutes. That was way longer than I expected. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm going to be really busy, so as far as getting everything going for more of these coffee episodes, they're going to be a little more periodic since I have to pop back on the road again. But I wish you all well. And the more that I'm thinking about this, I might put up a list of my of like links to all of this little studio stuff that I've been finding that's been super helpful, and maybe you guys will find it helpful too. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I just make a list and put up a bunch of links. I think I got all the foam. I got most of the stuff from just through Amazon, honestly. A lot of the important stuff you can't, but yeah, let's shoot for that because that might be helpful. Most of the tablature I write isn't ever recognized. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that, Daniel. It's always tough when you work really hard on something and it's just kind of like people don't recognize it. But yeah, all right. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thanks for going into my little weird world of studio studio nerdism for the night. Hope you have a wonderful what's left of your Valentine's Day, and I will catch some of you at Cali Vibes, and I will catch some of you on tour. And don't ever be afraid to pop in the DMs and say what's up. All right, take care, guys.